Hey sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to another edition of Court Call with Ronnie Nunn. Let's not forget he is a 19-year NBA vet. He was also head of the NBA officials for 5 years and was in charge of training officials for 3. Ronnie, how's it going today?
Doing real good, Coach. Everything is great. I want to give a shout out to the old ECAC, Eastern Collegiate Athletic Association Conference, and new commissioner, Dr. Kevin McGinnis. They're hoping for some good things. They were a great conference years back, all split up today, but a shout out to their 75th anniversary.
Well, terrific. And don't forget, you can also, Ronnie is also someone who is a consultant with NBA teams to help them reduce their fouling and thereby increase their wins. And also, if you want to have a call reviewed by us, don't forget to get on Twitter, use the hashtag CourtCall, include the date, the teams, the quarter, and the time to help us keep organized, and we'll get to it. And speaking of getting to it, let's hop right into our first clip, which is Kings versus the Clippers on November 23rd. We have Bart wants to know whether this post-up by Blake Griffin should have been a foul on Jason Thompson or not.
This is one of the plays that is called pull the chair play in the post-up. Of course, there's contact early on, and it's all legal. And all of a sudden, as we have the offensive player go back into the lean of a back down, Jason Thompson actually backs away from Blake Griffin and causes him to lose his balance. Now, whether it's a travel or not, that's questionable, but it certainly is not a foul on Jason Thompson. The key to this play is which official should handle this play. There's 2 whistles on it. I think our official on baseline wants to call it travel, but of course she has her hand up for time and not a fist for a foul, and our official at the top of our screen is showing a foul. I think there may be a little bit of a guess in there, thinking that maybe Thompson pulls him back. You've got to be sure about the plays. I would have rather seen the whole thing let go, or maybe a travel, and that's it.
You have a referee who can only see Jason Thompson's back. He's about, 30 feet away, diagonal across. It doesn't seem like he would really have the best view of that play either way.
No, he doesn't, and it looked like there might have been a question on the dual whistle. He took it. Foul always takes over a precedence of a violation, so that's why he stayed with the call. Let's let the primary official handle that play and then come in later and see what you got.
Well, let's move on to our second clip, November 15th, Timberwolves versus the Nuggets. It's a 3-point game, and Wilson Chandler is shooting crucial free throws. He misses the second one, but here comes Andre Miller flying in from behind the 3-point line, and it basically ends the game with him getting that rebound. So is this legal? What's the rule about coming in for a free throw?
Well, the rules on free throws are that you can't step in over the line until the ball is released from the free throw shooter. By the way, that's the same for the lane and also for those that are sitting around the perimeter of the 3-point line, except now by the free throw shooter. He must wait till the ball hits the ring. Miller incredibly gets in there so fast that anyone would believe he violates, but a credit to the officials for not calling it, because the ball is released before Miller actually goes across the line and puts his foot down.
It's funny, as a coach at the high school level, we would actually, this was a play we would use. We would have a guy time it to run right in and try and get that rebound. And then before the game, I would explain to the refs that that's our play that we do. So not to be so hasty in calling it, because we actually practiced working on it where he wouldn't violate that. And it seems like it's a viable play that NBA teams could run more often.
Yeah, and it's a major headache for officials to try to see that player running in and stepping in the line from so far away from the hoop. So it's a nightmare, but so far so good. They handled that play great. It certainly did look illegal.
Well, let's move on to November 22nd when the Raptors and the Wizards hooked up, 2 young teams, and we have a beautiful alley-oop in the fast break situation. Amir Johnson certainly holds on to the rim a little bit, and Jerwin, excuse me if I mess up your name, but Jerwin wants to know if this technical foul on Amir Johnson was too harsh.
Well, I might not call it harsh. That is the result. Obviously, there's a payment on that, but I would say it's a tad too quick. But I'm going to tell you what brings the lure and the official to watch also a game management play. He lifts his legs, if you notice, on the dunk, and then the hang with the leg, with the knees lifted up, make it look more showboating. And you cannot showboat on a dunk play like that. You may happen to do it because of your body, maybe somebody's under you, but you want to release as soon as you can. And in that case, he should have released sooner. But the bottom line is he brought his legs up, and that's what made it look a little bit of showboating. That's a technical foul, so I understand the official responding.
Let's move on to our fourth clip, which is the Pistons and the Lakers got together on November 17th. Martin wants to know if this foul on Shawne Williams was the correct call while boxing out.
You know, most people understand the box out thing from watching NBA games and games anywhere. The second guy outside of the two players opponent against each other is usually the fouler when he's going to the boards or when he's behind the primary player who's in front of him. But the same thing happens here where we don't have one followed by the other. We have a guy coming from a distance. Once he has that path, as Drummond does have, it's up to Williams to get into that path first and then wait on the box out or wait on his body to hit himself. So in this case, he comes late, and that collision creates a sort of like a block charge play, if you will, or sort of like a cut, you know, off the ball. The person that gets to the place first where the opponent can stop and change directions is a good play.
So it seems to me that obviously calls are there to ensure the safety of players as well. This is a very dangerous play in my mind, because if you bridge the guy incorrectly and he's going higher and fast enough, he could flip over on his head.
There's no question that safety's number one. And remember, in basketball, the alighted player is always the one that's vulnerable. And that's why we have rules against jump shooters and getting under them, drivers to the hoop, getting under them, undercutting them, as well as a rebounding situation where a person is in the air and undercutting him. So the play is called correctly and a good call by the official.
Absolutely. Well, let's move on to our last clip, which is actually a sequence of plays when the Knicks and the Pacers hooked up. We have an issue where Roy Hibbert has a reputation now as a defensive stopper and a guy that's been able to, you know, jump straight up in the air and either not get called or have offensive fouls called on the offensive player. So we're looking at two plays in a row. First was Kenyon Martin going up, and it looked like there might have been contact and there was no call. And then right back down the next play, Melo comes charging in there and he gets a call and a turnover from the offensive foul. So what's your take on this, Ronnie? Is he getting extra special benefit or is he doing it right?
And what's going on for him is great. He is really responding to one of the 9 major calls that officials make. I call it the Nuns 9 play, where players get themselves in trouble. And this is one of them, and it's obviously verticality. And on this verticality, on the first play with Martin, you will find that he's vertical, and that's great. And then the last minute, he swipes to get a block, and that swipe catches Martin's arm. And that's what he has to stay away from, and that's what all defenders should stay away from. You know, take advantage of your verticality and leave it like that. On our second part of that play, you will find Hibbert defending a Melo drive. He goes up vertically, and now he doesn't go to swipe, and now it shows that Melo goes through him for an offensive foul. 2 situations that result with calls for Hibbert, and the officials have to make sure they maintain the philosophy of verticality and not assume that a guy is so good at it that maybe he just probably did the right thing that time as well. You got to stay each player as individual, even though someone comes with a reputation. The key to that is when you're vertical, force the player to use his emergency moves or something else to get that shot launched. You will get a lot more missed shots than the blocks you're trying to get and causing fouls.
Well, Ronnie, another great show with some terrific insights into the refereeing and the fundamentals, which I'm sure hardly anybody is even aware of. So I'm really glad that we're taking a good look into this and spreading the word of what's going to be a good call and what's not.
I hope it helps the players as well as it helps our officials, and most of all, a knowledge to our fan base on what's going on. We're going to call it like it is, and I will give you my opinion and my judgment. So keep having those folks call in, and let's get it right so they can really appreciate the great calls that go on out there.
Yeah, don't forget to give us the hashtag court call and make sure you include all the relevant information that we need, like the date and the teams and the time and the quarter, and we will review it, and if we pick it, we will give you a big shout out, because thanks everybody, this show has just been blowing up. And don't forget, at B-Ball Breakdown, we're not a channel, we're a conversation. You in?
I'm in.